Hello guys, it's the Julia Chinello, your out and about lady here in New Zealand, anytime, any day. You're welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be talking about pharmacy practice here in New Zealand and in Australia as well. As you guys know, I'm probably a Nigerian trained pharmacist and I've been here in New Zealand for a while now. And one of the popular questions that my colleagues back home, friends, and my YouTube family, that's friends that I met here on YouTube, usually throw at me is, Juliet, are you now practicing in New Zealand? It's meant to be a yes or no answer, right? But please, I would answer that later on. And the second question that got thrown at me is, how is pharmacy practice over there? Is it lucrative? Is it rewarding? But I'm making a promise to you, sit down soon as I'm going to get it arranged. I would get an experienced pharmacist over here with at least a minimum of half a decade to give us the lowdown on pharmacy practice over here in New Zealand and Australia. I would work hard to get someone that have got both experience, touch of Australia and New Zealand, or either, depending. So in today's video, I will take it step by step with you guys on how you can get licensed in New Zealand or Australia as an overseas trained pharmacist. I know by now some of you would be like, New Zealand, Australia, they are two different countries. You are right, but both are sister countries, and the process of the licensing, the requirements and everything is, and the exam is pretty much the same. And both countries have got this agreement known as transtasmia mutual recognition agreement that exists between the two. And what that implies is that if you are licensed in Australia, you can practice in New Zealand and vice versa. So let's go down to the business of the day. To get you started, the first and foremost thing you need to do to get this process started is to check the route which you belong. And the country where you obtained your license from is what determines the route which you belong. So there are two different routes: recognized equivalent qualification route and non-recognized equivalent qualification route. If you obtained your license in United Kingdom, Canada, Ireland, United States of America, in any of these four named countries I listed, then you belong to the recognized equivalent qualification route. Then if your license is obtained outside any of these named four countries, then you belong in the same category as me. That is non-recognized equivalent qualification route. And that is where most of my subscribers and people that ask me questions belong to. So I'm going to discuss that extensively today. And if there is anyone here that belongs to the other route and you would want me to make a separate video for that, please let me know in the comment section. So in the non-recognized equivalent qualification route, there are 4 steps that is expected of you to become a New Zealand or Australia licensed pharmacist coming from overseas. So the very first step you are expected to take is to make an application for initial consideration. And under this application, you are expected to carry 4 actions. I named it 4 actions for easy of understanding for you guys. So the very first action you are expected to do is to supply 8 documents, and it's only hard copies there is accepted, no soft copy. And this 8 documents, one will be application for initial consideration for registration. The second one will be 2 certified passport photograph, and it should be recent. And the third is your application fee, and note it's not refundable, and I think it's about $6.90 New Zealand dollars. And the fourth document that is required of you is your curriculum vitae, that is your CV, And from my tip, is important that you make it comprehensive and all the content verifiable in case if there is need for them too. And the fifth document that is expected of you to supply is proof of identification, and that should be certified as well. And the sixth document that is required of you is evidence of change of name, if it is applicable to you. Example, married women that change their name. The sixth document that is expected of you is evidence of application to be registered in any country and the outcome of it. And the last but not the least document that is expected of you in this first action of the first step is disclosure of any health matter, conviction, and or details of any professional misconduct issue and the outcome. So after supplying these 8 documents, you would move over to the second action of the step 1, and there are 3 documents that is required of you from the second action, and that is your transcript. Note, it should come directly from your institution to the receiving pharmacy council. And the second will be certificate of current or past registration. You should remain registered in the country where you're licensed or where you are practicing before prior to your registration over here. So you should have a current ongoing pharmacy license somewhere. So the third document that is required of you in this second action is letter or statement of good standing, and that should come from the pharmacy council of where you are practicing directly to the receiving pharmacy council over here. And that comes the end of the second action of step 1. So we'll move to the third action of step 1, and that would be your reference or verification of employment. There is a verification of employment form that is attached in the Pharmacy Council website. So you're expected to download that and send to your referees to fill out and attach their complimentary card and send back soft copy. Hard copy, not soft copy, to the receiving pharmacy council. And from my experience and tip, I would advise, please, as much as you can, avoid over entitled or super busy bosses as your referees. Don't use them as your reference, because I don't know if they would be able to take that extra sacrifice of picking up their calls at all time, because that might be required, because New Zealand, Australia is at the other end of the world, and if there is need for them to make calls and verify one of 2 things, most likely they would call at all times. So pick someone that would make that sacrifice of picking up calls at all times to talk to the receiving pharmacy council over here. And the second tip I will give you here in picking the right referee is, as much as you can, avoid someone that have got a thick accent combined with being hot-tempered. That means that if the person is required to slowly repeat themselves, they might not be able to do that. So that might ruin your chances, delay things, or mess up things for you. So down to the fourth action now, the fourth action of step 1, that would be your English language proof. If you check on the website, they use IELTS or OET, and in IELTS you are expected to have minimum of band 7 in each of the tasks, that is reading, writing, speaking, and listening, and an overall of 7.5 in one sitting. And in OET you're expected to have A or B in each of the band, but 2 sittings is allowed, but it should be within 6 months time frame. So this is the end of step 1. in non-recognized equivalent qualification route. So we are moving over to step 2 now. Well done if you get there. And that is knowledge assessment of pharmaceutical sciences, and that is known as KAPS. And KAPS exam comprises of about 100 multiple choice questions, which is divided into part A and part B. That is 50 each, and it's computer delivered. Yeah, and the exam costs about $2,060 New Zealand dollars. But just to let you know, in case this exam must be taken within 2 years of getting your first steps sorted out. Otherwise, I don't know, and you're only allowed 2 attempts. Yeah, so you should be prepared before you hop onto the exam, because you only have 2 chances of proving yourself that you are qualified to register here in New Zealand or Australia. So the third step of non-recognized equivalent qualification route is New Zealand pharmacy legislation course, and that costs about 2,400 New Zealand dollars, and it is run twice a year, I think February and August, and it is you pay directly to Auckland University. It is organized and delivered by them. It is a 12 weeks model course, 1 module for each week, and on the 11th and 12th week you will have your vision stroke assessment. And the last but not the least is the 4th step, and that is intern registration and supervised practice. This program commences I think every 1st February. Yeah, every 1st February of the year, and it runs a minimum of 37 weeks. That's the minimum you will do your internship here. Note, if you have done your internship in the country you are coming from, if you've got extensive pharmacy experience, everyone, once you are following this route, you still have to redo your internship. That is what is applicable here. And maybe after your internship and getting your full license, then you can prove yourself that you have got extensive work research in your home country by what you are able to do. Then you get your career kicked off. And just before I forget one thing, there is a fee attached to this internship program that is payable to the Pharmacy Society of New Zealand, and that is about 4,400 New Zealand dollars, and that is for Evolve Intern. That is what it is called. And there is another registration to the Pharmacy Council of New Zealand that is about $690. So let me know what you guys think about the process, and also please try as much as you can to subscribe if this process is too cumbersome for you, if you're financially constrained that you cannot afford it step by step and the money involved and everything. There is an alternative process that I just jumped into. I don't know why it's coming this late to me, but in that process I will try as much as I can to get what you need to do compiled within 2 weeks and 3 weeks and roll it out to you guys. In that process, how it works is that you still get in touch to you still communicate with the Pharmacy Council of New Zealand and Australia, and if they verify you to an extent that you are a registered pharmacist in your home country or in the country where you're practicing, you can come over here through an agent to do pharmacy related jobs, which are rewarding because pharmacists are in shortage scale list here in New Zealand. I think in Australia long shortage scale list. So if you get recruited, you are expected to then settle down and gradually take the steps into getting licensed here. And in that process too, I think if you're struggling with IS, they take like an average IS of about 6, yeah, pending to when you get your 7. But what this alternative is all about is getting you over here to do pharmacy related jobs. You are not a pharmacist. You don't talk directly to the patient. You can't work in any pharmacy related organization, but not as a pharmacist. But sometimes what you take home is quite huge, rewarding, because it is in hard currency maybe. So if you are keen about this alternative route, if this whole thing I said is too cumbersome for you, please do subscribe. I'll get it organized and rolled out to you guys. Like I said, it's super busy here for me. 2-3 weeks maximum, I'll get it rolled out. See you guys next time.